time to cover more surfaces in fairing compound. As you can see, we're doing pretty good over here. I will need to hit that section now that we've kind of learned how to more or less work this line here, or work it better. And then soon this cabinet will be ready too. Just needs a little bit more prep work because all of this resin has to be sanded down and just kind of like a prep sand elsewhere, but I don't feel like getting covered in fiberglass today. So what I'm going to do instead is move on to an area that has already been prepped, which is the pieced head here. And we've got the daggerboard ready. We've got all of the like outboard side prepped. So all I have to do now is cover everything in styrene to get rid of all of the dirt. And of course, dust it first, as well as the bulkhead leading out of here. And then we're just gonna go crazy getting rid of that green.
Bring me down, whatever. Call me off whenever. I got time whenever now. You look great, however. This can't wait for the better. Let us talk forever now. Cause baby, you and I, we lay awake at night, trying to find a light to keep this fire alive.
Well, looks like today I will be working with the 3M Platinum Plus Filler. We're out of the toll boat for now, so I'll have to put in another order. So instead of doing all of this, I think I'm just gonna work on the back wall. So the daggerboard case, of course, going floor to ceiling, and then the outboard wall here, which will be behind the toilet, going up. And actually I find that easier for setting this area anyway. But yeah, looking over the daggerboard case, when Matt went down with the orbital sander, he did a really good job of blending in those numerous tape lines, especially down at the bottom here, where we had to go extra thick. So on the other side, there's like this huge bump here. Matt was kind of able to get rid of, so hopefully it goes on much, much smoother than it did on the other side. After this was a break from boat work, something much needed as we'd been in the tent every day since returning from Metz. So we have to board a plane and went to meet my parents on the Caribbean coast of Mexico, where they had rented a 2-bedroom Airbnb for the week. For the first time in probably a year, we took our minds completely off the boat, completely off the build, and just let ourselves relax. It was heaven. Over our past few videos, a number of you have been mentioning how tired we look, how dark circles are growing under our eyes, and especially after our day in the life video, just kind of how tired in general we look and that we need a vacation. So we took your advice and went down to Mexico with my parents for 7 days, and after basically 10 weeks of having worked 7 days straight, it was sorely needed. And we would like to thank Surfshark, who is the sponsor of this portion of the video, for keeping our information safe while we were traveling. Surfshark is a VPN, which stands for Virtual Private Network. It encrypts all the data sent between your computer and the internet so that no one can steal your sensitive information. Here at the marina, we have a secure network. But while sitting in the airports or using the Wi-Fi at our Airbnb, there's a much larger chance of us getting hacked. But a VPN keeps all of our information secure. Surfshark is also the only VPN to offer one account for unlimited devices. So we have it covering both of our laptops, both of our phones, and any other devices that connect to the internet. One other thing that came in really handy for us in our time in Mexico is that it can be used to unlock content unavailable in your area by changing the virtual location of your computer. So while we were there, we didn't have to put a pause on the series we were watching back home. To be honest, we didn't used to use VPNs in our previous sailing days, but now we will not travel without one. Make sure to get their amazing deal by using our code MJSailing and get 83% off of a subscription to Surfshark and 3 additional months for free. Plus, there is a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there is no risk for trying. To get started, just click on the link in the description below. And now, back to the build. Now that we're back from vacation and well rested, it was time to pick up where we'd left off. Matt was intent on finally getting our stage built, where our dining room table at the settee would sit. If you remember in some of our previous videos, we discussed how our sitting style is actually more of a slouching position. But even crouched down in the way we find most comfortable, we didn't want to miss out on all the beautiful views around us. This meant raising the seats to 22 inches off the ground, as well as adding 4 to 5 inches of cushion. So to fix this, we're adding a 7-inch stage under the table, which brings us to the optimum seat height of 19 inches. As Matt was taking care of that, I turned my focus back to our forward berth, now prepping the fresh foam that had recently been added for our sliding pantry doors. I took our 6-inch orbital sander to the inboard wall to quickly try and even it out, since blocking such a large area after initial fairing was still leaving me with many uneven spots. And then it was time to pass over the outboard wall, which had gotten 2 initial coats of fairing compound just before we left for Mexico. This was going to be a rough pass, bringing down the obvious high spots, so I could try to get one more uniform coat on. Back in the salon, Matt was making flanges, which would later get bonded to the upright sections of the stage. This is so when the top gets placed down, it will have the flanges to be bonded to, and we won't have to try and gain access and bond from the inside. Off camera, Matt had bonded the flanges to the stage in preparation of bonding down the top.
I did drill 2 holes through that main beam. I don't think I'm ever going to be running any wire through here, but just in case I do, I don't have to really worry about it. That I can still push conduit all the way through if I need to. It gives me a few more options, but I don't necessarily even want conduit in there because I don't know what I'm going to do with that space. One detail is it's not going to be used for storage at all. There's about 7-inch height, so in theory I could, but making the cutouts and stuff in it's going to weaken that area. I've got to reinforce it. By the time I get done, it's just really not a valuable space. We quite frankly don't need more storage.
To make sure the top of our stage is going to stay put, Matt coats the entire top surface of our flange with Total Boat's structural putty. This is a polyester-based resin with thickeners added, as well as long strand milled glass fiber. It can be used for high-strength bonding, and we're pretty sure our boat is now made up of about 60% of it. Just kidding, but it is what we use to bond all of our pieces together before they get glassed.
So what we've been calling the stage is now glassed in. So that is all set. We can finally start fairing out this area. And that's my job today. I'm gonna prep everything this morning, don the full Tyvek and just go through and grind all these surfaces down. So it's just going to be a very, very light coat of fairing over all these surfaces. Later on, they're gonna be covered in cushions anyway. But Jess and I, again, an irritant for us is the hidden surfaces when you open it up and they look rough.
Take one last good look around here at this, because after today, many of these areas, pretty much anything that is not a countertop, is going to be white. So we are still waiting on the compression post to get done welding. That's going to go in there. So these seat backs haven't been botted in yet, but we can fare up to about that point there. And on the outboard side, same thing, we can fare to there. Matt has got the stage placed in, so we're going to fare the fronts of that and the fronts of that. So by the end of the day, a really good portion of this is going to look totally different. Two light coats of fairing compound, and this is what we have on the outboard galley side so far. So, of course, this side has already been applied and sanded down. Matt's going to come through this morning now that it has cured overnight and sand these down so we can start to find low spots. And then on the backsplash for the galley here, just a really light coat because that's going to get a veneer over it. We just need to smooth the surface down. And I did forget to get the very top section here, but of course the big reveal is going to be here in the settee. Again, just a really, really light coat to start on the back of these because they're going to be covered by cushions, so don't want to waste too much fairing compound or add too much weight. But the fronts of them plus the front of the stage did get two coats, and they are looking really nice for just one round of application. These haven't been sanded yet. Again, Matt's going to come through here in just a little bit, knock down those lines, and then we can start to find out where the low spots are, touch those up so that we can get that blue dicum on. Oh man, what a difference. It's starting to look so different, like a real boat, a livable space.
Pretty now.
It's so blue. That was vivid. Adding a blue dicum liquid to a can of denatured alcohol, this was a tip we were given from our friend Colby as a good version of a guide coat. Once sanded down, any blue remaining would show us our low spots, which would need to be filled in to give us a flat surface with our fairing compound. I have to say this is another week where I haven't really been in filming mode just because I've been so laser focused on getting fairing compound up. So what we've been up to the past couple days, which we haven't really shown, is Matt will go in the morning and kind of sand all the surfaces that may have gotten fairing compound on them the night before. He's going through some new areas with that blue dicum, and then I come in after lunch and then add all the fairing compound. But we've been going through it so fast, like 3 gallons in about 4 days. So now we're actually getting to the point where we're gonna have to stop doing that just because until we get another shipment in, we can't keep adding it. But we do feel really good about the progress that we've gotten so far. So I think today I'm gonna go back into the guest head and work on the daggerboard case, a few of those areas that we were doing with the 3M filler because we have like a half a gallon of that left. So yeah, is it actually possible that we'll be sitting here twiddling our thumbs with nothing to do in the next couple days?
I caught you on a good day. I was doing fine, so fine. That was till she called me.
I don't know if this is Matt's really good kind of like fairing or prep of our daggerboard case before I put the first coat of 3M on, or if I'm just getting that much better. Probably a combination of both. But as I go through here and kind of coat these blue surfaces with the dicum that shows the low spots, they're really not that low. So I'm just doing the lightest skim coat, but yeah, this area I don't think is actually gonna need a lot more. Making some real progress on the daggerboard case here. I have most of the front done and I've moved on to the side. Can tell there's still some big dips there. And using one of Colby's tools that he left, trying to clean it between each round so I don't get any like these hard gunky things. I've done this once before. I didn't realize I was gonna do it again. Cleaning the edges, these things are super sharp. I had 2 sets of gloves on and I'm just kind of like taking a paper towel, running across the edge and I slice it and I'm like, okay, so I cut the glove, probably not much more. Just go to take my hands out of the glove right now. Yeah, sliced right through there. I did that on my finger a couple weeks ago. Gotta be super careful with these or get myself some thicker gloves.
Guess it's no news. You would bring me heartache, but all is still in time, in time. I could even the score with your friend like you did mine. But you don't matter no more, and I'm not the heartless kind.
Just got back from a late lunch and all of that 3M fairing compound I put on the daggerboard case should be cured enough to sand now. Again, that stuff dries super fast, which is good when you want to sand the same day, where at the total boat we usually let that sit overnight. Anyway, I have got this large block here with hook and loop sandpaper. I think we've got 80 grit here right now. So I'm just gonna do a very, very light sanding since we're already hitting fiberglass in a lot of those spots to make sure that I don't dig through any further, but just kind of like bring down level the other stuff that I added today.
You used to be my nemesis, but I ain't got the time to let you bring me down. I'm done with it, 'cause now I see the benefit. I'm saving so much time, no vengeance on my mind. If I ever see you, I really wouldn't mind, wouldn't mind.
Turns out it's still just a little too tacky to sand well right now. My sandpaper was just gumming up horribly. So now I've stuck the heater back in here and decided to work on the forward V-berth area under the sill there. So that is one area that I had a long time ago I haven't gone back to, but if we're gonna be doing this big touch, everything needs to get touched up anyway.
But I ain't got the time to let you bring me down. I'm done with it, 'cause now I see the benefit. I'm saving so much time, no vengeance on my mind.
Ooh, exciting news, because after literally spending the morning scraping the bottoms of our Total Boat fairing compound canisters, Pete just walked in right now and let us know that our new shipment has been dropped off. So 5 fresh gallons. I can't say how fast we'll go through it, seeing how fast we went through the previous 3 in like 3 or 4 days. But that means that we can touch up some of the surfaces that just need a little bit, and I think we can start fairing a few of those tomorrow. Can you imagine? It's really, really exciting. Very close to being able to get primer, at least in the settee area here. You can see that yesterday I went through, well, Matt already sanded most of it off, as he makes a bunch of noise downstairs. So here on the settee is basically just the tape lines that had been faired. I kind of came out towards the center, and then Matt has, again, sanded that back, but we think with the high build primer, those should be fine. They're going to be covered with cushions 90% of the time. So I need to finish right now is working on these corners and getting them as full as possible so Matt can go through and then route a 5/16 edge here, but we just kind of like need to build up something for it to go across, and it's easier to take off than put on. So let's see, just before lunch I went through and added some. I'm not done. Okay. Yeah, you can still see like a few gaps in areas like that. Needs to get filled in a little bit. And the tops here, because before I had gone with the edge this way just to build up something high here, so now I'm going to kind of come back and do the same this way, fill in any last little holes there, and same for these edges too. You can actually see this has barely got one, it's still pretty round, so I came apparently across at the top yesterday. Now I need to go through and get the upright here and then finish on this edge as well, so those can all be routed. Of this project now, which I'm hoping is the case, because that means tomorrow we could actually get primer on this. But if you can see on the kind of more inboard side here, we've got a nice, very sharp corner going along here. I had pulled it out on both sides and then sanded it, not perfectly, but this is really more just to check and see if any more fillings need to be done, versus this side, which hasn't been sanded yet, so you can see it's still kind of hanging out over both the edges, which I did initially want. And same thing over here. Yep, just gonna try and sand these down. Can tell this corner needs to get hit a little bit more with some fairing compound. And then areas like that, I don't know if just because I haven't quite sanded it enough. Obviously I've added more fairing compound than is necessary. I'm not gonna worry about that. Oh yeah, hopefully this area is ready for a sand. But yeah, just give that a little check. Corner there as well. Call it a day.
Japan.